Hello everyone, welcome to Tech Myth. In this session, we are going to talk about another very important topic related to medical coding anatomy, where we will be mainly discussing about a sensory system. Prior to this session, we talked about what are human body systems, right? And its importance, functionality, and all the basic overview of the human body system, organ system, right? Now we are going to continue that series where we will be mainly focusing on sensory system. So we'll see what is sensory system, how it works, what all information it can provide to the brain, and how it is related to the other systems as well. Okay, but before we proceed further with this session, I would like to recommend you to please go and check out the previously released session first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow it sequentially, then it would be much more easier for you to understand the ongoing topic, because for time being we are just mainly focusing on what are sensory system. But prior to that, you should know what is body system, how it works, and all the other terminologies that we have already covered regarding the medical coding series. And for that, you can also refer the Tech Myth digital course book, which is freely available in the description box. There you will find thousands of sessions available in Hindi as well as English language. So without any language barrier, you can easily consume the content. And in case if you have any queries or questions related to that, you can simply reach out to me through comment section. I would be more than happy to answer all your questions there. Okay. Alright. So let's see what is sensory system. So if someone asks you directly as a question in the interview or exam, what are sensory system or what is sensory system, you can simply say that a system which is a part of the nervous system that is responsible for receiving, processing and interpreting the information from both external environment and internal environment is called the sensory system. Okay. So in very simple terms, you can say that the sensory system allows the body to detect the changes happening around it or inside it, and then send that information to the brain so that brain can understand and respond appropriately. Clear? So I think with this, one thing is quite clear, that sensory system is nothing but a system that can sense the information, or you can say that can receive the information, process it, interpret that information and send that information to the brain so that it can process it and respond appropriately. Okay, so overall we can say that sensory system is a system that detects stimuli from inside and outside of the body and sends that information to the brain for processing and interpretation. Clear? So till here I think definition is quite clear what is sensory system. Now the next thing is, why is the sensory system important? Okay, so we'll see why it is so important. What will happen if it is not there in the body? So if sensory system is not in the body, you would not be able to see, hear, smell, taste or feel. Okay, so for all these kind of thing like see, hear and smell, taste and feel, you need a sensory system. You would not know if something is hot, cold, sharp or painful. It is only the sensory system that tells us. Let's say if you are touching something which is sharp, so if your sensory system is not there in the human body, then it will not provide the information that it is sharp, and you will damage your skin even if you are touching something hot. And if it is not providing the information to the brain, then in that case you will not be able to remove that head immediately, and it will cause the issue. Okay. Next thing is, you would not be able to maintain the balance or know where your body parts are in space. Okay, so for balance also it is needed. After that we have one more very important thing, like if sensory system is not in the body, you would not be able to protect yourself from the danger. Okay, so we can say that the sensory system in the body information gathering system, which constantly monitor both external world as well as the internal body and keeps the brain informed at all the time. Clear? Now we will see how it is related to the nervous system, because sensory system is not completely a separate system. It is a part or functional division of the nervous system. How? Let's see. The nervous system has two functional division. One is sensory division and the second is motor division. Sensory division is also known as afferent, which carries the information from the body to the brain, and this is the sensory system. On the other hand, we have motor division or afferent, which carries the commands from the brain to the muscle or the organ. This produces the response. Okay, so we can say that the sensory system represents the input side of the nervous system, whereas the motor system represents the output side of the nervous system. Now, to make it easy for you, what you can do, you can simply relate it with the computer system. Okay, so in computer systems, we have keyboard, mouse. These are all input devices, right, which gathers the information and send it to the processor. So here the computer input device like mouse, keyboard are the sensory system, and it sends in computer information is sent to processor. Similarly, here we will send the information to brain. So brain is the processor that process the information, and motor system is the screen and speaker through which we will get the output. Okay, because brain produces the response and we will see it, monitor it through the motor system. Clear? Now we will see how the sensory system actually works. So sensory system works in a step-by-step process. The first process is stimulus. So something is in the environment or inside the body changes. This change is called as stimulus. Okay, what is stimulus? Change in the body internally or externally. Step 2 is detection. A sensory receptor, which we will learn in upcoming session what is sensory receptor. It detects the stimulus. Okay, it is the device that does detect the stimulus. Then we have transduction. The sensory receptor converts the stimulus into the electric nerve impulse. Then we have transmission. The nerve impulse travels through the sensory, which is afferent nerves, towards the brain. Step 5 is processing. The nerve impulse is relayed through the spinal cord and thalamus to correct the area to the correct area of the brain. And step 6 is for perception. The brain interprets the signal and you become consciously aware what you are sensing. So overall process is stimulus, receptor, transduction, afferent nerve, spinal cord, thalamus, brain cortex, and perception. Okay, so this is how the system of sensory works. Okay, so this is the same thing I noted it down here, like stimulus, any change in the internal or external environment that activates the sensory receptor. Then we have sensory receptor, a specialized structure that detects a specific type of a stimulus. Then we have transduction, the process of converting a stimulus into the nerve impulse. Then we have nerve impulse, an electric signal carried along the nerve fiber. After that we have sensation, the raw awareness that occurs when the brain receives a nerve impulse. Then we have perception, the conscious interpretation of understanding of sensation. Last three is afferent, efferent and sensory nerve, where afferent carrying signal toward the brain and spinal cord, sensory direction, and efferent is carrying signals away from the brain and spinal cord, motor direction. The last one is sensory nerve, a nerve that carries the signals from receptor toward the brain, also called the afferent nerve. Clear? Now we will see what are the type or the sources of information, sensory information. First is external environment, information coming from outside the body. Okay, so whenever the information is coming from outside the body, it is detected by the receptor located on or near the body surface. Okay, either we have some receptor on the human body or near its surface. Okay, example, light hitting the eyes, sound entering the ears, object touching the skin, smell entering the nose, and food touching the tongue. So these all comes under a external environment. Similarly, we have internal environment, information coming from the body detected by internal environment, information coming from inside the body, detected by receptor located within organs, muscle, joint and blood vessel. Okay, then we have examples: blood pressure change, organ stretch, muscle tension, internal pain, body temperature. These all comes under a internal environment. Now we have few categories. Let me quickly walk you through these categories. All senses in the human body are divided into two major categories. One is spatial senses. It have specialized sense organ dedicated to them. Okay, so it has specialized senses located in specific region of the head. It have a complex receptor structure. So what are the 5 special senses? Vision, hearing, equilibrium, that is also called as balance, taste, gustation and smell, olfaction. Okay, so these are the all special 5 senses. Now if we talk about the general senses, then we have category 2, which is widely distributed throughout the human body. Use simple receptors scattered in skin, muscle, joint and organ. It do not have specialized sense organ. Okay, so this is general senses like touch, pain, temperature, proprioception, pressure, vibration. So these all comes under a general senses. Okay, now we have learned so many things, so how we will remember it all? So to remember it all, there are few tricks or memory tips I have noted here. Just remember this word HVBTS, okay, which is nothing but a 5 special senses: hearing, vision, balance, taste and smell. If we talk about afferent and efferent, afferent start with A, so it's arriving to the brain. Efferent start with E, so it is exiting the brain. So arriving at the brain, sensory, going towards CNS, exiting the brain, motor, going away from CNS. Now one last example that you can relate with your sensory system. Think of sensory system as a CCTV surveillance system of the body, where the cameras are the receptor that detects what is happening, cables are the sensory nerve that transmit the footage, and control room is the brain interpreting and responding what it is seen. Clear? So I think with these things you can easily relate the things and recall the thing during your interviews and exam. Now we have one special question for all of you, and I'm sure you will answer this question. So today's question is, how many systems does the human body have? Once you start writing the answer of these questions, it will give me the notification that you guys are learning the sessions from these, you are following this series and learning from these sessions, and on the basis of comments itself, I will release the remaining sessions for the medical coding. So please do share your knowledge in the comment section, because it is not only helping you to recall the concept, but it is also helping others who don't know the answer of it. And in case if you also don't know the answer, you can refer the previous session, there we have already discussed in detail. So just recall the topic, share your knowledge, not in the long, just a short answer, it would be fine. Okay, and then we can proceed with the further series. So yeah, that's all for today. See you in the next session. So thank you for watching TechShare Myth.